Hello everyone, it's Brandon here from the Pilot Stud channel, and today I've got an absolute treat for you all. I'm taking a look at IniBuilds' rendition of John F. Kennedy Airport in wonderful New York City. A new bit of payware which was released today and may very well be my favourite. It is absolutely awesome, incredible in so many ways. Today I'll be showcasing this wonderful product, sharing my thoughts, what is good, what is bad, comparing it to the default Asobo version, and a lot more. So without further delay, let me get right into it. But before I do that, be sure you subscribe to stay up to date with the most important Microsoft Flight Simulator news. But now let's actually talk about what this airport is all about. So as I said, it is one of the busiest international hubs into North America, if not the busiest. It has 5 active terminals, and if you fly on Microsoft Flight Simulator, you may already have Asobo's version, but trust me, this goes far above that, and even that is a very good bit of scenery. You can buy it for £19 99 pence, which is around $25 US, and if you're not familiar with IniBuilds, they recently released the Antonov AN225 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, I'm showing you the trailer on the screen before we move into some comparisons, and as you can see, it is superb. It's very performance heavy, as I'll touch on in a minute, but it is a very good airport. Once again, in so many ways, IniBuilds really have gone above and beyond, and that does pay off in so many ways. Some of them you've already seen on the screen in my early cinematic, with the trailer now, and when we move over into the comparisons. It's very easy to install as well. Once you buy it, you download it via the Ini Manager, as you can see on the screen. Now, I've had a busy afternoon filming with this airport, and I've managed to film some comparisons between this new bit of scenery and Asobo's freeware version. So let's take a look at them. I've put a logo in the top left or right corner to tell you what you're looking at, and we're starting off with just a general view of the runway. This is Asobo's version, and you can see it does look pretty good, but as we swap over to IniBuilds' version, you can already notice an incredible difference. The runway just looks a lot better, and as we move to the central sort of hub of JFK, well, splitting the screen down the middle before flipping over to IniBuilds' version, you can see, my goodness, what a difference it makes. Roads are not sunk in, and the airport terminals just look so much better. Now, I'm going to stop talking for a second, because you can sort of work out for yourself with the logos in the screen what you're looking at. So I will put some music on, have a little look, and I'll come back in a minute or so. Okay, so we got a wonderful look at the difference with the tower and Terminal 8 there, I believe it was, but this has to be my favourite comparison. Look at the fantastic difference that makes. The apron, the stands, the taxiways, they look so much better. Completely ignoring what they've done to the terminals. Many of them do have interiors as well, which I'll be showing in a moment. Now, just going up close to a rooftop on Terminal 5, you can see the difference it makes. On the left, we've got Asobo's rendition of JFK, and on the right, we've got IniBuilds' version, and it looks so much cleaner, but also a lot more realistic. Not to say Asobo haven't made a great effort, because they have, but this is where IniBuilds really shine. When it comes down to ground markings, they are king. I don't know where I'd be without IniBuilds stands. They look so much more realistic. I do feel like Asobo stands have a tendency to look rather toy-like. Let me just remind you what they look like. As you can see, yes, it just looks very white, sort of overpoweringly plain. IniBuilds definitely don't have that issue. So definitely brownie points for IniBuilds there, and of course they do everything else you'd expect them to do with a payware airport, such as map taxiways correctly, ensuring taxiway signs are positioned where they need to be, updating runway and taxiway markings to accurately reflect real life. Now moving over to the runway, you can see on the right we've got IniBuilds, and it looks so much better. It really does look a lot more realistic. Now to be fair, Asobo's runways are still pretty good. Most of the time they've been automatically generated, so still pretty good going, although of course Asobo's JFK was handcrafted. But where IniBuilds really shine is with stuff like this. The surrounding areas of the airport, even away from the terminals, it just looks great. Now, as we approach Terminal 1, we're going to start to take a look at some interiors, because IniBuilds really do like to go above and beyond with detail, and my goodness, they have pushed the boat out here. Now let's just flip over to night, because this looks incredible. Take a look at this. You can see the air trains moving about, tower glowing a hue of pink. It just looks beautiful. I don't think I've ever really gotten so excited over something on my computer screen, but this does look very good. It looks marvellous. Overkill, maybe yes to some, but I really like airport interiors. As you approach the gate, or as you approach the stand, I should say, it does add something, and it does boost the immersion. Now this hasn't been done everywhere. I believe Terminals 4 and Terminals 8 have seen special TLC when it comes to airport interiors, and I would imagine that's for a very good point, because it does swiftly move me onto performance. Now this is a very frame heavy airport. You can optimise it in the IniManager app. I haven't done that yet, so I have bared the brunt of the low FPS I got, especially when I was coming into landing. Now this might break the deal for some of you. It is very performance heavy, and while I said I haven't optimised it yet, I will be giving that a go, and hopefully it will improve it, because I do love this airport. It is beautiful and definitely one of my favourites already, just from the level of detail, and there's so many features I just haven't had time to touch upon, or I'm sure many of you will discover for yourself. IniBuilds, you've absolutely smashed it. But the one negative of this airport is that it is so performance heavy in certain conditions. Don't get me wrong, when I was making the cinematic like I am now, it was smooth as butter, but once you hop in the 737 and depart down the runway, oh boy, it's a slightly shaky ride. On that note guys, let me finish up with pros and cons. Pros, it's stunning. You know, I've covered most of the stunning points to be fair. This airport is modelled beautifully. And as I said, there's so many points I haven't touched upon. But the one negative is that it is very performance heavy, and I cannot reiterate this enough. I believe this is definitely for a mid to high range PC, at least in my current optimization. I'm sure if I go on the IniManager app and turn some things off, it will sort itself out. On that note guys, I give this a solid rating of 8.5 out of 10. Definitely one of my favourites. If IniBuilds can optimise it in the future, well, they're certainly onto a winner, and I remember they did exactly that with London Heathrow's airport. And now that's probably competing for first place, although I'd say JFK is slightly more detailed. On that note guys, have a fantastic day. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you around. Bye bye.